So I have about a million things I'm supposed to be doing today, but I'm going to Yarndale this weekend and it's going to be a bit chilly. So I've decided instead of doing all my responsible stuff, I'm going to make a cardigan. I'm going to time how long it takes me. So I got this yarn in a charity shop. It's £6 for basically, I think, in 6 balls, but it's a mohair blend yarn and it's a combination of mohair, wool and nylon, 78% mohair, 13% wool, 9% nylon. And it's basically, they call it mohair DK, but it basically works up like a chunky or super chunky. So I've decided, as a little experiment, I'm going to make a version of my Any Yarn Will Do cardigan to see if any yarn will do. Now, this is the same yarn composition I used for my Squish It sweater, and I used that with a 12mm, and I used a similar slick stitch in a slightly different pattern. Now, I'd never suggest anybody doesn't make a gauge swatch, but I looked at the gauge I achieved with that and kind of used that as a starting point. Now, in the Any Yarn Will Do cardigan is basically the same pattern, but in 5 different yarn weights, so 5 different gauge measurements, and I'm basically between 2 of the gauge measurements. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go with the super chunky one, which is the biggest one. I've got 3 hooks I'm going to experiment with, and these are all 12mm hooks, but with a fluffy yarn the hook can make the difference. So this is going to be a bit of a wing it cardigan, and the beauty of the Any Yarn Will Do cardigan pattern is I think I've just got the sweater version here, not the cardigan. Anyway, the beauty of the Any Yarn Will Do cardigan and the sweater pattern is that it's a really simple top-down seamless pattern, so you can adjust it in loads of different ways. So I did that with the crochet along that I made to go with it, and I'm going to demonstrate it. What I am going to do, I'm going to make a size large to account for the difference in gauge, and if it's a bit bigger, it's fine. If it's a bit smaller, it'll probably stretch. So this isn't about being perfect. This is actually kind of the opposite. It's about winging it with your crochet. So I'm going to make a cup of tea, and it's just before 12:30. So I'll make a cup of tea. I'm going to put you on time lapse and we'll see how long it takes me. Okay, here's my cup of tea. If you want to guess how long it's going to take me, drop it in the comments now. Okay, so we're having a quick pause. I've finished the yoke as the pattern's written, but I want it a little bit longer, so I'm going to add two more rows without increases, and then obviously I'll have some chains there so it goes around my arm. I'm also obviously already wearing a sweater, but I'd quite like this to be a bit oversized. I can have a quick check of my gauge, which obviously I haven't done yet. This is very hard to, oh my goodness, right, I can't do it on that paint because I can't see my stitches. So my gauge is, so it's 7 rows. I think the pattern is either 6 or 6.5, no, 5 or 5.5. So obviously my rows tighter is quite similar to what it was for the others. And the stitches, yeah, the stitches are 7, and I think that's 5 in the gauge. So obviously it's quite a bit tighter. There's a reasonable amount for stretch, but I think 2 rows will do it. And in case you're wondering, these are my running stitch markers, which just help me identify the corners. So yoke's nearly done. It's nearly 2:10. So what's that, an hour and 40 minutes? Have to spin on the phone to my sister for the last 15. So making good time. Let's get back to it. Oh, these running stitch markers, by the way, I talk about these in the pattern and on my post all about tips for top down. So if you want to know more about that, you can find it there. I've run out of my first ball of yarn. I'm on the last round of the yoke. I think it's just going to be a bit better fit there, and I might put a couple of extra underarm chains than there is in the pattern, just to make sure I've got lots of space to move. I want this to be a little bit oversized anyway. So I'm going to start my second ball of yarn. I should have said this before. This yarn, each ball is, I think, 50 grams, and you've got 100 meters per 50 grams. So it's 200 meters per 100 grams. So that's not bad going for 100 meters of yarn, I think. Okay, so I'm going to get started with this next ball and crack on to splitting the yoke. Oh, time check. Nearly 2:30. Okay, so I've split my yoke. I added 3 chains under each side, so I've got loads of space now. Now I've just got the easy bit, rest of the yoke. I think I'm going to keep it cropped, but that's easy to change as we go. And then I'm not going to do any decreases on the sleeves, I don't think. Maybe a couple at the start. I'm kind of up for a bit of a balloony sleeve. So okay, I've just got to have a slight pause for actual adult boring stuff and food. So we're just about 3:05, so that's 2.5 hours. Yoke's done. Happy with the fit. Gonna have nice big sleeves. Yeah, food, and then I'll be back. Multi 4:38.5, 20 to 5, and I'm back on it. Okay, quick update. So I haven't quite finished the body. I had to wait for the cat to get up so I could try this on. Let's just do it now. I just worked to the end of the ball of yarn for the body. I want to keep it cropped. So I think, that's about the right length. I'm halfway through a round, so I'll finish that round and then just do the bottom edge. I've taken a couple of stitches away at the bottom of the sleeves, but I'm going to keep them. This one, I'm going to keep that pretty big. And then I've got a couple of hooks. I've got a 6 and 7 mil here just to work the cuffs, which I'm going to bring it in. So I stuck with my Clover and More hook in the 12mm, but I'll probably go down to a 6, but if that's a bit much I might use the 7. But yeah, so sleeves to finish and then edging and a button. Let me show you the button. Oh, stopped it on the floor. Okay. When I was on holiday, it's all right, kitty. When I was on holiday, I went to this shop in Cardigan called Dutton's for Buttons, and I bought a bunch of buttons. So I bought, and I've just dropped one of these little wooden ones, these little wooden ones, and then this, which is the one I'm going to use. I'm just going to have one up the top. Whoop. It's like a big, slightly 60s off-white plastic one, and I think that's going to look cool. I just got to find the other ones that I just dropped out of this bag. Right, let's carry on with sleeves. I forgot to do my time check. 5:45, so that was like an hour to do the body and get the sleeve started, so it's going super quick now. Okay, so I'm almost done. Let's have a look. First of all, it's about 7:50, or I was gonna stop, which means that last session was 3 hours and a quarter with the 2.5, so that's 5 hours 45. And I've got both sleeves done. Hang on a minute. Both sleeves done with a little bit of zhuzhing at the cuff, and I've just got to do the last round at the bottom and the trim, which I'm going to do in the morning because I'm tired now. Oh, for the cuffs in the end, I did 7mm, 1 round a single, 6mm, 1 round a single, and 5mm, 1 round a single. This is why I love my Clover and More. I'm also going to have to take the battery out of that clock overnight because though it's beautiful, so loud. Okay, so 2 days later, it is 2 days later, 1 day later. It is 10:18. I'm supposed to be leaving for Yarndale at 11. I finished the sleeves, obviously, and so I've got to finish the last row of the body, do the trim. Let's see if I can get it done in time. Here we go, all done. Used a 7mm for the bottom hem, tightened up my stitches up the front, didn't use my funky button in the end. Did some little ties, needs the ends sewing in. Love the sleeve length. I'm into this sort of 3/4 length sleeve situation. Obviously late, it's now 8 minutes past 11. I'm going to take a yarn needle and sew these up tonight after I've helped Lindsay set up her stall at Yarndale. See you there. Here is the finished cardigan. Took about 6 hours altogether from start to finish, and I just used a 7mm hook to do a simple kind of button band and hem. For the little ties, I chain 21 and then single crochet back down and joined them. I just joined the yarn where the neck shaping ended. In case you wanted to look at the yarn, this is what I used. It's a vintage yarn, I think, so I don't suppose it's available, but it's called Charisma Mohair Rich for Stylish Knitting, and it's 78% mohair, 13% wool and 9% nylon. I have seen Mammy and Florrie has a mohair yarn that's the same composition. She calls it Mega Mohair, and Rico do one. I talk about that in my video, which I've already linked to, or I will pop a link below, which looks at substitutions for basically exactly this yarn from my Squish It sweater. That's kind of all there is to it, really. I wore it to Yarndale, as you'll have seen from the slightly awkward video of me showing it off there and trying not to laugh. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. It's very warm, got lots of lovely compliments, and it's a great way to spend 6 hours when you're meant to be doing something else.